It was just past noon when the flames roared to life an inferno that consumed a reclaimed industrial site and shattered lives in an instant. But the fire wasn't born in a single spark. It had been quietly fanned for weeks, hidden in plain sight. 3 students went on a routine field trip, a supervised visit to an abandoned warehouse for a chemistry class. In that moment, the promise of discovery turned into a nightmare. The building, once a relic of industry, now crackled with sinister energy as thick black smoke billowed into a sky heavy with secrets. 17-year-old Clara Mitchell had no room for routine. She had already lost her brother, Aaron, near that very site just 6 weeks earlier. The school insisted it was a tragic accidental trespassing mishap, a fatal misstep. But Clara knew Aaron. He was meticulous. He never left loose ends, and his final act had been to capture something off-camera, something that screamed foul play. Late one restless night, Clara uncovered Aaron's forgotten GoPro footage in a shoebox hidden in her cloud storage. His voice, barely a whisper, trembled through the audio. "There's something wrong. The chemicals, they shouldn't be here. Someone else is around." Then, an abrupt crash, followed by a haunting silence. Every nerve in Clara's body screamed that the field trip was a cover-up. Determined, she began piecing together the puzzle. In the days before the fire, she noticed whispers among teachers, furtive glances exchanged in hallways, and a chilling text from an anonymous staff member. "Don't speak up. Your family depends on your silence." Clara's investigation led her to the overlooked details, a charred corner of the warehouse, uncharacteristic burn patterns that whispered of deliberate acceleration, and soil samples she secretly collected. The lab results confirmed her suspicions. Red phosphorus, acetone, and pseudoephedrine residue chemicals far beyond any high school experiment. The warehouse had been a meth lab. Then came the most damning clue. Property records revealed that the site was owned by a shell company linked to none other than Dean Robert Keene's cousin, the very man whose approval had sent Clara's class on that doomed trip. And just days after the fire, Keene resigned, citing health reasons. Late at night, while scrolling through security footage from the site, Clara caught a glimpse of Dean Keene himself. In a grainy, time-stamped clip from 5:31 a.m. on the day of the fire, he was seen unlocking the main gate alone, in the dead of early morning. His presence was the final piece of the puzzle, a calculated move to eliminate evidence before the DEA could swoop in on a tip-off. As the fire roared and claimed 3 young lives, another chilling detail emerged: a text message left by a teacher that Clara recovered from a hacked account. "We're all complicit. This goes deeper than you think. Stay quiet." In that moment, the full horror crystallized. Aaron's last recording, the soil test, the security footage, and the whispered texts painted a picture of a cover-up so vast that it chilled the bone. The field trip wasn't about learning chemistry, it was about concealing a criminal operation. The blaze wasn't an accident. It was a meticulously planned purge, signed, sealed, and burned to the ground by people who should have protected their students. The scariest part? No one's been charged. No one's even questioned. Because sometimes, the people running the school are the ones writing the lies on the whiteboard. If this story hits you like it hit us, don't just scroll past. Like, comment, share. Let's get Clara's story seen. Let's get the truth heard. Because silence is how they get away with it. "Help. They're still underground. Please, don't let her find me." A distorted 911 call echoes into darkness. It all began on a brisk autumn morning. The school bus pulled away at 8:05, carrying 30 eager students to a history museum in Lee. The journey never ended as planned. 16-year-old Miguel Torres, a quiet honors student with a worn GPS smartwatch, was last seen boarding his seat by the window. His gentle eyes hid a secret that would soon upend everything. That same watch would later betray him, pinging from a location 200 miles off the route, a place so isolated it seemed to exist in another world. Days later, state troopers found Miguel wandering near a desolate compound deep in rural Idaho. Barefoot and confused, he muttered about rituals and waking up underground. His voice trembled with terror as he tried to recall the horrors of that day, but the details were as elusive as shadows in the dark. The chaperone, known to the school as Sarah Whitaker, was 38, a substitute whose warm smile and impeccable references had earned her a spot on the trip. Yet beneath that veneer lay a hidden past. In reality, she was Celeste Harmon, a woman with ties to the notorious New Dawn Collective, a dissolved cult infamous for recruiting minors into off-grid labor camps disguised as spiritual awakenings. As investigators pieced together the puzzle, chilling evidence emerged. Inside the bus, carved into the seats with a pocket knife, were cryptic symbol shaft suns, spiral eyes, and the haunting phrase, "Clean minds, clear skies." These marks were not mere vandalism. They were the calling card of a ritualistic abduction. Further inquiry revealed that the bus's GPS had been deliberately sabotaged with a $15 signal jammer purchased online under a fake name. Grainy dashcam footage from nearby highways showed scattered cell tower pings tracking the students' phones for hours, only to vanish as if swallowed by the night. Drone footage later unveiled the compound, a cluster of makeshift cabins, a crumbling chapel, and a forgotten bus, half swallowed by nature. And at its gate stood a man identified as Randall Marks, a missing middle school teacher from a decades-old case, now inexplicably linked as Sarah's husband. His haunted eyes and silent demeanor hinted at secrets buried deep beneath the compound's dirt and decay. Miguel's account, though fractured by trauma, hinted at more than just abduction. He recalled a glimpse of Sarah's cold, calculating gaze as she moved among the students, as if checking off a list. He whispered that something about her seemed otherworldly, like a puppet master, orchestrating a sinister plan. Inside a cramped evidence room, investigators found an FBI board plastered with photos of the students, maps of the bus route overlaid with erratic cell tower data, and handwritten notes scrawled in haste. "They know our secrets. They choose us." Family members of the missing 5 students allege police negligence, insisting that warnings were ignored while the true horror unfolded behind closed doors. In hushed interviews, one survivor recalled the echo of a teacher's desperate plea over a barely audible recording. "This isn't just a field trip gone wrong. It's a carefully orchestrated abduction, and we're all just pawns." As the investigation deepened, it became clear that the New Dawn Collective's legacy was far from over. The cult's remnants were orchestrating a covert network of off-grid campsite. This bus, this abduction, was only the beginning. Now, with more questions than answers, the case remains shrouded in mystery. The compound stands silent, its secrets buried beneath layers of neglect and deliberate cover-ups. The missing students' families continue to demand justice, while authorities struggle to piece together a conspiracy that spans years and defies explanation. Before you switch off, remember, sometimes the most sinister dangers hide in plain sight: a friendly chaperone with a stolen identity, a bus whose route was never truly planned, and a truth that's too chilling to ignore. If this story sends a shiver down your spine, hit like, share your theories, and subscribe, because sometimes the silence of the missing speaks louder than any scream. "Help! She's in the water. Please, somebody help her." A distorted 911 call echoes into the void. It was meant to be a simple ecology field trip. Field Trip 113 from Ridgewater High. 30 bright-eyed students set out that morning, eager to learn about nature by the tranquil shores of Harlow Lake. The crisp air carried the scent of damp earth and pine, and laughter filled the bus. But by the time dusk fell, everything had changed. 15-year-old Emily Park, a Korean adoptee and star swimmer known for her quiet determination, was nowhere to be found. Moments later, her lifeless body was discovered floating near the lake's edge. The initial ruling was heartbreaking, yet all too familiar: a tragic drowning accident. But something didn't add up. At the autopsy, toxicologists made a chilling discovery. Paralytic drugs coursed through Emily's veins. Not a random misfortune, but a deliberate act. How had the water claimed a champion like her? The investigation soon zeroed in on one man, Coach Danny Reeves. Once a celebrated Olympian, Reeves had seen his career crumble under whispers of sabotage and doping disgrace he'd managed to hide behind a veneer of second chances. Now, at 33, he was the revered coach at Ridgewater, celebrated for turning ordinary swimmers into stars. Yet behind that facade, a darker agenda festered. Evidence began to mount. Hidden in the depths of surveillance footage, Reeves' smile was too calculated, his gaze too cold, especially during training sessions. In one damning moment, a grainy dashcam clip showed him discreetly handing over a small vial to a swimmer moments before practice. Later, forensic lab close-ups revealed that the same type of paralytic found in Emily's system was contained in those unmarked vials. Emily had been clever too. In a series of text messages recovered from her phone, she'd warned a friend, "Reeves isn't who he says. Look up his sister." Her cryptic message alluded to a shadowy chapter in Reeves' past. His sister had drowned under mysterious circumstances during a training retreat in 2010, an accident, ruled as such, but now re-examined with suspicion. Digging deeper, detectives discovered that the field trip itself had been a calculated diversion. Reeves had orchestrated the outing to isolate his athletes away from prying eyes, and to cover up his illicit scheme of dosing his team, ensuring his chosen protege would remain unbeaten. But Emily, ever curious and brave, had stumbled upon his secret stash, hidden in a locked compartment in his duffel bag. Adding to the mystery, Reeves' prized protege, whose scholarship hung in the balance, had remained eerily silent about the dosing, despite knowing far more than she let on. Was she complicit, or simply too afraid to speak out? And what of the other students? Were there threats whispered behind locker doors that have yet to be heard? Drone footage later revealed the unsettling truth. Harlow Lake, once a symbol of natural beauty, now became a graveyard of secrets. Murky underwater point-of-view shots captured the eerie stillness beneath the surface, while split-screen images juxtaposed Reeves's old Olympic glory with the stark, cold report of Emily's autopsy. Today, the case remains shrouded in unanswered questions. Coach Danny Reeves was arrested, his public charm replaced by a smirk that hinted at far more hidden layers. Yeah, the silence of those who survived and those whose voices were stifled speaks louder than any confession. Before you click away, ask yourself, how many truths lie submerged beneath these waters, and how many more will be lost in the tide of deception? If this story sends shivers down your spine, hit like, share your theories, and subscribe, because sometimes the dead have more to tell than the living dare to speak.
Like, subscribe, and comment.